This is Maureen Kafkis, the Brain BS coach, here to tell you about the episode today. So, in this episode, I am going to talk about the difference between the law of thinking and the law of cause and effect. They sound similar, but they're not. And I'm going to give you a hint. One requires you to take action, and the other one can let you just think about doing something all day long, which is never going to create the new results that you want in your life. So here you go. Sit back, settle in. Episode number 133 of the Brain BS podcast, The Universal Law of Cause and Effect. Do you want more out of your life, but not exactly sure what that might be? Are you longing for something, but can't quite put your finger on what it is? That is the universe speaking to you, and it is time to listen up. I'm your host, Maureen Kafkis, the Brain BS coach. I created the Brain BS podcast to help people define what success means to them and show them how to get it. I help you to let go of fear and doubt and prepare your nervous system for success. I show you how to understand your own energy and to trust yourself to make all the decisions. If you are ready to go inward and stop looking outside yourself for all the answers, this is the podcast for you. Now let's get started. Hello and welcome back to the Brain BS podcast. So today I'm inspired to do an episode on the law of cause and effect. I like to intermittently throw in some universal laws here because this is a big part of how we operate in the universe, whether you realize it or not. It's actually non-negotiable. So you can get on board and make it work for you, or you can continue to act like it's not happening, but consider yourself informed after you listen to these episodes on the Brain BS podcast. I recently did an episode on the law of thinking and how powerful thinking is. And it's the most powerful force of energy in the universe. Everything that we do, everything that we create stems from the way we're thinking. Our thoughts trigger our feelings, and those lead to actions and give us our results. While we talk about the law of thinking, there's also another law called the law of cause and effect. Now, the difference between the two is the law of thinking is something that you can do, and you don't necessarily produce something different in the world. You don't see a different result. The law of cause and effect includes a behavior that takes place because of the way you were thinking. So you could be thinking all day about doing something amazing and have all these great ideas. And in fact, I've been doing that for like a year now. And I stepped back from my business because I decided I didn't like the direction it was going in. It didn't feel correct to me, and it didn't feel good in my skin. So I went back and I dove into my human design, and I learned universal laws, and I studied subconscious programming. And I've come back to this place now where I'm actually ready to start making money. So before, I just wanted to learn, I wanted to build a foundation, and I wanted to believe in myself. So my thought was I have some foundational work to do. And the effect was that I learned a lot of different things, a lot of valuable information, and I've been sharing it with you on the podcast for free. Now, moving forward, in order to be a business and to be able to help people financially and do things for the community, I actually need to make an income. So my thinking is changing now. I have done the foundational work, I've done the self-belief work, and now I'm ready to start becoming successful from a money standpoint, whereas prosperity was way more important to me before. I've learned how to create abundance with the way I'm thinking, the way I'm feeling, the way I measure my business. So I'm in a place now of being able to attract more abundance. I'm in a place of feeling fulfilled, feeling successful, and feeling right on track for what I'm doing in my business. Now, I could keep thinking like that, but until I actually take the actions to make the money in the business, it's not really the law of cause and effect. It's just the law of thinking. It's making me feel good, and it's creating a good feeling, and I have a different kind of effect on people, but it's not actually the effect of me being materially and financially successful in my business. So the law of cause and effect means that my thought this year is it's time for me to understand how to create abundance first spiritually and then make it material wise so that I can then go on and show other people how to do the same thing. And because of that, I'm now in the midst of making my course. It's almost finished. And I'm going to start selling my course. And then I'm going to start selling my coaching again in whatever way I'm inspired to on a daily basis and whatever feels correct to me. All that being said, what I really want to point out here is if you think that you really want something, you can't just change the way you're thinking about it. You actually have to take the actions to create that result. That really is, bottom line, the law of cause and effect. It's the law of thinking if you just think about it. It's a law of cause and effect if you actually take actions, and that's how you get new results. So I want you to think about something that you really want in your life. I could use the example of weight loss for me. That's become evident and come to the forefront for me again because I tried different ways of approaching weight and getting used to age-related changes and being a little heavier. And I now weigh more than I ever have, and that's not acceptable to me. I don't like it. It doesn't feel good. I was honoring underlying commitments. That's what Debbie Ford calls them in her book, The Right Questions, an excellent book. And underlying commitments is just subconscious programming that actually is always going to be stronger than any conscious programming that you have. In my case, consciously, I wanted to lose weight, but subconsciously, I preferred to rely on food and beverage for my entertainment and avoid some uncomfortable emotions that come with creating change. I also want to point out that you can think all day long and decide that you want something, but unless you actually take the actions, and in my case, I wasn't disciplined. I was eating more, drinking more. I got back to eating more flour, more sugar. I wasn't really doing the intermittent fasting properly. I started to slow down my activity level, and I didn't do this all at once. It just slowly creeped up. So I point all this out to you because now I am going to create a different effect because it's come to me consciously that what I was doing is not working. I forgot who I am and what matters to me, and it does matter to me to keep my weight at a certain level so that my clothes feel good, but mostly so that I feel good in my body and I feel like I'm taking care of myself and loving myself and nurturing myself. I don't feel that way when I feel bloated and mildly hungover and like I'm not getting enough exercise and not getting out into nature enough and not walking by myself. I kind of stopped doing that too. So this, my friends, is life. This is what happens no matter how evolved you are. No matter how much you try to be conscious, your brain is going to hijack you every single time at some point, and that is not a problem. You just have to see it and then get, oh, okay, yep, you're right. You got me again, brain. Come back to it and then get back to doing what you have to do to feel good about yourself and being conscious again. This is the dance of life. It never goes away as long as you're alive and a human with a brain. The last thing that I want to point out, and I want to remind you again, and I've said it multiple times here in this podcast episode, is that the law of thinking is powerful, but it's the law of cause and effect. That's what you want to really focus on because you don't just want to think about something, you actually want to create a different result, which would be the effect, which comes from taking action. I know you've learned something valuable here today. I'll see you next episode. Thanks for being here and learning about Brain BS. I hope you enjoyed listening to the episode as much as I enjoyed creating it for you. If you did, please take a little time to do a quick review, give me 5 stars, and share it with everyone you know. If you're actually interested in being on the podcast yourself or have questions about it, you can find me in the Brain BS podcast community on Facebook. See you next time.